Adrian Fontes is the Democratic nominee for Secretary of State. Back in 2020, he was the Maricopa County recorder, tasked with running the election in the fourth most populous county in the country. In the days following the 2020 election, Fontes withstood demonstrations by angry pro-Trump protesters outside of his office. They were demanding Fontes continue the vote count, even though that's exactly what he was doing. Their demonstrations actually disrupted the voting process, but Fontes and his team finished the job anyways. Joining me now is Adrian Fontes. Adrian, thank you so much for being here. Can you start off by telling us how you envision and how you see the stakes of your Secretary of State race in Arizona? I mean, let's be blunt. What is the choice that is facing voters there?
Well, first, thanks for having me. And second, the choice is stark, and it could not be more defining for this moment in our republic. You have a January 6th treasonous insurrectionist on the one side, and then you've got a United States Marine Corps veteran who ran one of the best elections America's ever seen with a bipartisan team that I continue to be very proud of. Our operation beat back the cyber ninjas. We defeated, with our good work, every single challenge that came up. And I want to make sure that all of the voters in the entirety of the state of Arizona have those opportunities in the future. So the choice could not be more black and white.
You know, Adrian, we may say in jest sometimes, what is in the water in Arizona? I mean, I say it myself. But we have to be very serious about what is at stake. You mentioned the fact that somebody like your opponent, Mark Fincham, you know, he's running on this platform where he wants to ban early voting, for example, restrict mail-in ballots. He's suing to suspend the use of all electronic vote counting machines. And he's co-sponsored a bill that would give the state's Republican-led legislature authority to overturn election results. I mean, pretty much taking away a citizen's vote and what it counts for. I think one way to ask you, or one way of looking at it, is to ask you, what would that 2020 election have looked like if Mark Fincham had been in charge?
Well, it would have been a complete disaster, and I think that's pretty plain. The important thing, though, is particularly here in Arizona, we as Democrats have to take it to the Republicans. And the question that I have for my opponent is, why do you hate America and Americans? What is so wrong with the Republicans and independents and Democrats who actually ran that election in 2020? Why do you hate the work that they did, the oath that they carried out, Mr. Fincham? And what is so wrong with the method of voting that was created by Republicans back in the 90s, promoted by Republicans all through the 2000s, and really has helped make it easier for all Arizonans to vote? Why suddenly the change? He's got to justify his nonsense, and the voters of Arizona are not going to put up with this, nor am I.
It's not just your race. There's also that race for governor. In that race, Kari Lake has made claims of fraud prior to Tuesday's primary elections, but she ended up winning the race anyway. So she was posed this very interesting question a day after the election. Let's take a listen.
We the people won. We won.
You said this election was messed up. You said you had evidence of cheating. Why should voters trust that you won this election fair and square? Elections are just such a mess.
Well, we have a lot of evidence of irregularities and problems, and we're going to address those.
Will you release it?
I'm not going to release it to the fake news, but we'll release it to the authorities.
Why not?
Unbelievable. So, Adrian, I want the viewers to understand and know, has Kari Lake presented any legitimate claims of voter fraud in those primaries?
None of them have. Neither Kari Lake nor Mark Fincham nor Karen Phang nor any of these folks have ever presented any real evidence. It is all garbage. I'd use more colorful language, but I get in trouble on network TV when I tell people what I really think about the way that these folks have completely eviscerated the faith that Americans have in one another. Let's not forget, it is regular citizens who run the vast majority of everything that happens in our elections. And I will say this, if Kari Lake is hiding evidence of wrongdoing, misprision of a felony is still a crime. And she's got to come forward with it. But it doesn't make any sense, does it? She says a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, like Mark Fincham did, that if they lose, there's something wrong with the election. But now they're winning, and apparently everything's okay. So we know that they are being petulant. They probably never played team sports as children, so they didn't learn how to win or lose with grace and respect. And so we're going to take it to them. Democrats in Arizona are ready to fight. This Democrat is ready to fight against their nonsense. And we're going to bring some stability into government by getting rid of these people who are just like wild-eyed fanatics. They've got to go away.
You talk about team sports. Sometimes there is strength in numbers. Katie Hobbs is going to be Kari Lake's opponent on the Democratic side. Have you had the chance to be able to talk to her since winning the primaries about maybe putting a concerted front together as Democrats to be able to fight back before those November elections?
Look, Democrats in Arizona have always put together coalitions. We work with independents and Republicans all the time. I have beaten the Republican voter registration advantage by bringing folks over every time I've run for office. And let's not forget, it's not so much just about Democrats working together among ourselves and with independents and Republicans. But Mark Fincham lost 59% of Republicans. Think about that. 59% of Arizona's Republican voters did not want Mark Fincham to be their nominee. That's real. He is weak. We're going to take him down in the fall, and we're going to work together with any voter of any stripe to make sure that Arizona continues to have solid, free, and fair elections. That's what this old Marine is going to do, and I'm very excited to be running for Arizona Secretary of State.
Adrian Fontes fighting the good fight in Arizona. I, along with America, will be watching very carefully your race. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.